What's up, St. Louis? It's your host, Luke Farrell of the STL Bucket List Show. The STL Bucket List Show is driven by Bomarito Automotive Group. Bomarito is Missouri's #1 car dealership with over 20 locations, so I guarantee that there's one in your neighborhood. Since the 1970s, Bomarito has sold over 1 million cars, and John and the entire team made us feel completely comfortable when we picked up our new vehicle recently for the family. So I can't thank the Bomarito team enough for driving this episode forward, and enjoy the show.
Hey St. Louis, Birch Tree Recovery is the newest outpatient mental health and substance use recovery resource in St. Louis. Birch Tree is truly doing it differently. Our science-based humanistic approach, along with a talented team of clinical professionals, will ensure that your time with us is life-changing. Birch Tree's approach to treatment is rooted in research and data. We reject any judgment and shame that may exist and challenge you to live the life you deserve, free of labels and stigma. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, call us. We can help.
If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune into the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on? They'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.
What's up, St. Louis? We're back with another episode of the STL Bucket List Show. I got a very special episode. We're into 2025. I got my friend Adam over at Session Taco in studio today. The podcast is driven by Bomarito Automotive Group. Without those guys, we wouldn't be able to sit here and record each and every week. And of course, our friends over at the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis and First Community Credit Union for being big supporters of the show. But I got Adam in here, really a legend in the hospitality industry here in St. Louis. You've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of first, just so that people can kind of reintroduce to you, tell us what you do, your brand, and kind of what you've been going through with the big rebrand and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. So, oh man, yeah. Hearing Session Taco, it's going to take a little while to get used to, right? I mean, we've been Mission Taco Joint for over 10 years and kind of built that brand up in the area, and it's what we're known for. But yeah, we had to rebrand to Session Taco. So as of the first of the year, we've officially made that transition.
Yeah, no, that's been amazing. I think the new brand, it looks really clean. I love the way it looks. I love the shorter Session Taco without the joint, but I do love the joint too, obviously. You know?
Yeah, we loved it. We put it on there, and then everyone called us Mission Taco or Mission, and no one ever said Mission Taco Joint. So with the rebrand, we're like, we'll shorten this down. It makes our email shorter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I know I just emailed you, and the new one's like, hey, email me at this one. It is shorter. But you guys got the new website, obviously all the locations, still a lot of the same team members there. You guys did some new things with the menu. Obviously, you guys the cocktail list is crazy there. You guys upgraded the cocktail list. But I want to kind of look back before Mission, kind of tell us your backstory, where you're from, how'd you end up in St. Louis, and how did you end up in hospitality in general? So if you kind of want to give people a peek at maybe your childhood and growing up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so born in San Diego. My dad was in the Coast Guard. And we moved all around growing up. We moved every year, so lived all over pretty much all the beaches in the U.S., including Hawaii for a short stint. And my parents got transferred here in the mid-'80s for 3 years, and they loved it. So we ended up moving away to Chesapeake for a couple of years, D.C. My dad was finishing up his 20. They're originally from the East Coast, Connecticut area. And I don't know, they just loved it in St. Louis. So they requested to come back here. And I moved here back in 1990 to Webster Groves. I was a freshman in high school, went to Webster Groves. My brother Jason, who's my partner at Session, he had just graduated, and he came back and went to culinary school at Forest Park. So that was kind of the background of how we got to St. Louis. I moved around so much, I ended up staying here for college. I went to SLU for 2.5 years. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was there for physical therapy. Didn't really love touching people intimately that I didn't know. Probably should have realized that, but you don't think of those things until you really start getting into it. and I ended up dropping out of school after
Mhm.
2.5 years. And I had worked in restaurants. My first job was 14 at Emos and Webster.
Nice.
Worked at Tippins back in the day,
Mhm.
Ryan's Steakhouse. And then in college, I was working at, it was, well, there's another one. It was the Keel Center at the time. I don't
Yeah.
even know what it's called now. I still
Yeah.
call it the Keel Center, just
Yeah.
like everyone's going to call us Mission Taco
Right.
Joint for the next 10 years.
Right.
Um, Jason was the sous chef there.
Mhm.
I started working there full time, went through Levy. They're based out of Chicago, went through their management training program, and
Mhm.
I don't know, just kind of immersed myself in the restaurant business.
So what
So
was it about the restaurant? Like, was it the energy you felt there? Did you just fall into it? Was it your brother's influence because he was working in restaurants? I mean, what made you, because it is such a unique pathway to go from like being a student at SLU, working in the healthcare industry, then to just go work at a restaurant,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just the excitement. It's every day is something different, you
Mhm.
know. I've always been a people person, so just dealing with people day in, day out, different faces.
Mhm.
I think that's what really excited me about it.
Yeah.
Was just kind of always that way in high school, a little bit
Mhm.
of a people pleaser, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
So yeah, it just seemed like a natural fit. I didn't mind the hours, didn't mind the work. You
Mhm.
know, we've always that's just kind of how our family is. You put in the time, you put in the hours.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a bother at all.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I love obviously now restaurants are so glamour or they from the outside with social media, it looks now chefs are really cool and all
Yeah.
these things. But back then it was really, a job that was hard work and sometimes, it was regimented and your parents are military, so you kind of knew that lifestyle already. So I
Right.
don't think it was that, like you said, big of a change for you to
Right.
to listen to a chef yell at you
Yeah.
or whatnot. But it's a lot different now. Obviously, you guys have hundreds of employees and different things like that. But what made you guys decide to go? First of all, working with your brother is probably awesome. Actually, let's start with that. How is it working with your brother? What's the PG version
Um,
of working with your brother? Because I mean, it's family. It's cool to be
yeah.
able to build something special with people that you love.
Sure, we are polar opposites, and I
Mhm.
think that's what we can attribute a lot of our success to, right?
Mhm.
Jason is the creative, the artist, the skateboarder with a purple mohawk in high school. I was the class president, captain of the soccer team,
Mhm.
right? Did well with my grades and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I just think having, you get a lot of people who maybe they're really good chefs and they want to open their own restaurant, but they don't understand the business side of things. Or you have business people who think it would be cool to open a restaurant and don't understand the hospitality and food side of things.
Yeah.
And Jason and I, while we don't see eye to eye on everything,
Mhm.
we always come to a happy conclusion, and it's usually in the right direction for the restaurants.
Yeah, no, that's true. It has to be different, and it's just like co-founders when you're starting a tech business or a construction business, whatever it is like having the two people with different skill sets. Because then you go and do your thing, and he does his thing, and you guys trust each other in those realms, and then you come together when stuff happens.
Absolutely.
So 2014, we just visited your OG location. So walk us kind of through how long were you guys planning that? What were the steps to take? I mean, 10 years ago, I mean, I guess 11 years ago now, it was a lot different with restaurant industry and different things like that. But walk us through kind of those beginning moments and those founding moments of how you guys landed on your concept.
Sure.
To do tacos and tequila.
To do that, we got to go back to 2003. In
Okay.
2003, Jason and I opened two restaurants. He opened Barristers in Clayton,
Mm-hmm.
which was there for over a dozen years, a long time, and it was like an English style pub.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good bar program.
Nice.
In Clayton, it did a really good lunch, but it wasn't really fancy for a destination spot for dinners.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I'd gotten out of the business and I was selling real estate.
Okay.
My mom sold real estate, so I was working with her, and I enjoyed that. A lot of passion for homes. But Jason reached out. He's like, "Hey, this little spot opened up in the Central West End. What do you think about opening a little taco shop like we had back in San Diego?" And I was like, "Yeah, it sounds awesome. I got." These big wide eyes, like,
Mhm.
yeah, open my own place. This would be cool, right? So we opened a little spot called Tortilleria Mexican Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were making tortillas from scratch, braising meats, using, chilies that we were bringing in from Mexico. Really a lot of authentic ingredients that a lot of places in St. Louis weren't using at the time. So Tortilleria was a hit. It was very small. It was like 1,200 square feet, so it was limited in capacity what it could do.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it was going well enough that I got out of real estate and just focused on that full time. So we were each kind of running our own places, doing our own thing. And then we came back together in 2010 and opened up Milagro Modern Mexican in Webster Groves. And that was our take on higher end Mexican, which St. Louis had not seen. The closest thing that we were looking at was Chicago with Rick Bayless doing Frontera Grill and things like that. So we opened Milagro, and it was great for dinners on Friday and Saturday night because it was in Webster Groves, which is a bit of a bedroom community. But we kind of struggled. People didn't feel comfortable coming in on a Tuesday with their kids in their soccer uniforms and stuff, right? So after we were running all three of these restaurants, and we're like, all right, cool. All of these do some things very well. How do we take those things and mash them up? And that was the concept of Mission. So we never called it a Mexican restaurant. It was a bar with a good cocktail program that served Mexican food.
So you took like the bar program and the hospitality from your brother's spot, and then kind of melded the Mexican food, or in a way like that, Mexican.
We took the bar idea from Barristers, the chef inspired things, the creativity from Milagro, but then the fun, casual, playful atmosphere of Tortilleria.
Wow. So you had those three concepts. So did you close those? Did you sell those? How long was it? I guess that was like 2010 when you opened up Milagro, but then you started working on this new concept because you're like, we want to serve everyone.
Yeah.
And that's what you came on.
Yeah. We want people in here, lunch, dinner, Monday nights, Saturday nights. So yeah, the Mission concept really started taking off, and then as other leases started coming up, we closed those stores. So it was nice. We got to close all of them on our own terms, which was really cool.
And then you found the spot in Del Mar. And
we were still operating all the other restaurants when we opened the first Mission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't until they started closing years down the road.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
as the leases started coming up.
I knew Milagro, but I didn't know you guys. I didn't know Barristers. That's funny. I'm reading about it now. I'm looking at an old article right now.
Yeah. He ended up. I think there were some regulars that were big fans, and he sold it to them. And
this picture's a long time ago. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, that's an old picture right there. No grays in that.
Yeah,
beard.
man. Yeah, that's what 10 years will do. So when you opened the first location, how quickly did you start to say like, okay, this is it? Was there an aha moment in your guys' journey when with that location that you're like, hey, this is something that's actually scalable?
Yeah, it was like week one.
Really?
Like it was just the excitement, that we saw from people, the press, the guests, the staff. We just saw that as something that had legs, right? We originally opened just for dinner because we wanted to kind of get things going, and we were getting like hate emails like, wait a minute, I've been so excited. Why aren't you open for lunch? So we quickly transitioned, got open for lunch, and then eventually introduced the late night.
Yeah, the late night is what I moved to South St. Louis in 2017. I was 20. I just turned 21, and I would always be at your Central West End location. The $2 tequilas, $2 tacos from 9 to 11. I think what it was.
We were open till 1.
But like 9 to 11, you had the happy hour. Or it was 9 to on.
It was 10 to 1 a.m.
10 to 1. Okay.
Yeah, except on Sundays we had to close at midnight. But it started at 10. So, I mean, the places would be just packed up until about 9 o'clock, and then everyone knew that happy hour started at 10. So we'd have a little lull between 9 and 10, and then it would just start cranking again at 10.
Yeah. No, the good old days.
So, yeah, those are the good old days. Yeah, that's when people are out like still drinking and partying and eating late night. Like COVID changed that.
I know, man. There's only so many places to eat late, and it's like it really actually hurts for a lot of the other industry people because they have nowhere to go.
I know. And that's how we originally did the late night happy hour. We dubbed it as like an industry late night happy hour. Obviously anyone could come, but you get industry folks in, others follow.
So you opened in 2014, saw success quickly. Walk us through like kind of scaling a concept, because all your other three concepts were standalone, and now this was your first time taking, this concept and then duplicating it in other neighborhoods. So walk us through that. I mean, I think that with you guys being able to run three gave you that experience, but also being in real estate, knowing leases and knowing all these different things probably helped. But I mean, how hard was that to duplicate that same flavor, that same energy at another location?
It it wasn't that hard. It got a little easier
Yeah.
because you already kind of had the formula, you had the blueprint.
Yeah.
You just had to get the right people in places to execute.
Yeah.
So, scaling up, it actually allowed us to do other things. We opened a commissary at one point where
Hmm.
we could, do certain products that have long shelf life to help, reduce inventories of the locations,
Hmm.
cut down on labor,
Yeah.
keep consistency. A lot of people think that, oh, well, the food comes from a central location like this and that. I'm like, yeah, it actually is more consistent that way, right? We're
Hmm.
we're braising our meats in batches and vacuum sealing those and sending them out to the stores every morning. So the product's the same, as fresh as it would be if you made it in the store.
Right.
Just consistency is better.
Yeah, and it's the same product you'd get at each location,
Yeah.
and that's what guarantees that. So, I want to talk about the entrepreneurial journey because you've been an entrepreneur on and off for a long time,
Yeah.
20 plus
Mhm.
years now, and same with your brother. So, what are some of those ups and downs that people don't see? I mean, what are some of
Oh,
those things
man.
that you struggle with?
Yeah.
Because I know we've been texting a couple times over the past week, and you're always at weird times of the day or night. You're always thinking about your business. So
Oh, you
it's
never stop thinking
yeah.
about the business. It
Mhm.
just, you don't turn it off. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, entrepreneurship, financial, that's a big one,
Yeah.
right? I mean, some pretty tough days with Tortilleria in the beginning. You open a restaurant, you have this idea, that you open it and the people will come and then they're not coming, right? And how do
Mhm.
you deal with that? And
Yeah.
sold my house, moved into my parents' basement,
Oh,
this
wow.
all
Yeah.
in my early 30s, right?
Mhm.
So definitely a lot of humbling experiences
Mhm.
along the way, but
Yeah.
they all make you stronger and make you better at what you do.
Yeah. No, I agree. And you guys probably went through, and this is just me speaking, but this last year with the rebrand has probably been one of the most difficult.
2024 was definitely the most difficult year.
Yeah. Even 2020 and all those. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Walk us through what like that feeling of like did you feel defeated? What
oh,
was that
totally
feeling?
defeated. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we had just gotten through COVID, which yeah, that was hard, but there was assistance out there,
Yeah.
PPP loans and things. And,
Mm.
I mean, I think there was a lot to try to help the community that knew what was going on, and then
And people were
um,
rallying behind small businesses too,
oh,
and like there was a lot of support. And,
absolutely, the
yeah.
support for small businesses was unbelievable.
Yeah.
We helped champion cocktails to go in Missouri.
Yes.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And then we're kind of coming out of COVID. Then we had the fire in the building where our Central West End location. That was a bit of a hit. And
Mhm.
then, we got things are back on track. We're
Mhm.
going, we're good. And then I open up this letter in the mail and just my heart just sinks, right? Like,
Yeah.
really? So the lawsuit was from Gruma Corporation that owns Mission Foods, Mission Tortilla out of
Mhm.
Texas. And their trademark is, look, when you open a restaurant, you think of a name, you're not really diving into trademarks, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I wasn't, at least. I
Yeah.
was young, I
Mhm.
was naive. The Mission brand was based on the Mission District in San Francisco,
Mhm.
where it was kind of like our Cherokee Street, right? Where you
Yeah.
have, these awesome little taquerias. Right next door might be a really cool high-end cocktail bar. And then they also had all these killer murals. So that was kind of the three things that we had.
Mhm.
All of our locations have a different local muralist that does a mural.
Mhm.
We had an awesome bar program. We had tacos, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
That letter.
yeah, that letter came, and I was like, really, like, you could have done this in store one, right? You didn't have to
Mhm.
wait till we had 7 locations.
Right.
So, but we figured it out. We've definitely, I'll be the first to admit, we have had a lot of struggles post COVID with, food quality, hospitality.
Mhm.
It's the industry has changed a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of our good employees and managers left the industry completely.
Mhm.
So we've been in a rebuilding phase. It's a lot easier if you have one location to rebuild than it is 7 locations,
Yeah.
right? Especially when you have several in Kansas City and you're not located in that city.
Mhm.
So we are thinking positively about the rebrand, that we can just use it to refresh the brand and
Mhm.
get our hospitality back up, get our food consistent, and kick some ass again. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I mean, I think you guys have always done an amazing job with, championing St. Louis as a culinary destination. And you guys, like you said, you're a bar, you're an upscale you do all these different things, but I feel like when I walk into session, I just feel immediately relaxed because it's a relaxed vibe. The music's just loud enough, but not
Yeah.
too loud. You have good music. You got good playlists. At least you did on Del Mar last week when I was there. Had a
Good,
good playlist. But then, like you said, the food is important, but also you're a bar. You want people to come there that just want to have chips and salsa and a drink. Or there was guys there working on their computer sitting at the bar. There was a young couple on a date there. There's all these different things. And then now you guys are moving towards these arcades. You have a few arcades and different things like that. So, like you said, you can bring your kids there. You can have a margarita. You can get a pitcher. Your kids can get stuff after the game. And a lot of people that have been on the podcast have talked about that. It's like Session is one of those spots where you can go to with the whole family.
Yeah.
And I think so as you guys look forward to the future, I mean, what changes are you making and what does that future look like? I'm sure you guys have had big meetings this year about, is scaling more in the future? Is what's one of the big focuses for 2025 coming out of the new year?
The big focus for 2025 is to just really get back to our roots and, get the Session brand where the Mission brand was, right? One of the big things that we're doing, you mentioned some arcades, right, is kind of for the first time, we are looking at our different locations differently, and we might start doing some different operation things, right? So all 3 of our original locations, Del Mar, Soulard, and the West End, which is scheduled to reopen here in a couple months. They're all in more urban environments, right? Late night happy hour was great there. Different clientele than we're getting in Kirkwood and Town and Country and St. Charles. And obviously for the podcast, I'll speak mostly to the St. Louis locations, right?
Yeah.
And all 3 of those locations have arcades, right? So just kind of understanding that even though it's the same brand, same menu, we can operate them differently. So one thing that we are going to be bringing back is some sort of late night happy hour, but it'll just be to our St. Louis City locations, right? People just aren't coming out at midnight on a Wednesday in Kirkwood or Town and Country, right? It's just not a thing. It's not going to happen, right? But those county locations, including St. Charles, all have the arcades. So we really push that family environment and stuff like that there.
And I noticed specifically on the new website, which first of all, the new website's beautiful. I love how it's just one page and you can kind of navigate down the page. It's not confusing at all.
Our last one was very confusing. Over many years, websites get kind of bastardized and stuff.
So that was slapping shit up.
That was also another thing to have a nice clean start on the website.
But I noticed party rooms, this is anything from work happy hours to party rooms, and you guys have that space in a lot of your county locations. You guys have huge spaces. Yeah. Where you can do cool stuff. Like when you're looking at the old West End location, it wasn't that big of a space. You guys had a basement though, no?
Oh, there isn't a basement and an event space there. Yeah,
okay. Yeah. I'm tripping because I remember we had a party in the basement one time. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's cool. So that's coming back. Same location?
Yeah, that'll come back. Same location. We expanded a little bit into one space next to us to get all of our kitchen operations on the main floor. It was kind of split before. So that'll be coming back online soon.
So with the Session brand, this year is really about kind of understanding what you guys did well, what you can do better in certain places, and then also just honing in on all your hospitality. But I know from you, how much you've grown over the years, that there is that long-term vision to continue to grow the brand. I mean, is there other markets that you would want to go to, or you just want to be in St. Louis, or what's that look like for you? And in Kansas City, obviously.
I mean, after the last 5 years, it's the less is best, maybe. Just because it's been a difficult, it's been a difficult time. But once we get things back on track and the Session brand becomes more of the household name like the Mission brand did, we could look to expand.
So when you're in St. Louis, what is like the community? Obviously, you're not from here, but you've been here since you've been 14. So
Mhm.
this is your home,
Yeah.
you know. And being a transplant sometimes is difficult because you don't know the people. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, where'd you grow up at?" And you're like, "Oh, I was at Webster Groves for a little bit, but I don't really know any." You know, because you were
Mhm.
just in that. So what has the St. Louis community meant to you guys as far as just supporting you over the years? I mean, do you have anything kind of like to touch on what St. Louis has meant to you guys?
Yeah, it's been tremendous. I
Mhm.
mean, seeing the difference here between Kansas City, right? This is a great one because we have locations in both. It was eye-opening when we went there. And like there I was like, okay, cool. So we're the magazines are gonna write about us and like, wait, they don't really have like Sauce and Feast and all
Mhm.
these, St. Louis Magazine,
Yeah.
Mayhe, like there's just so much amazing food reporting here.
Mhm.
It is top notch for the size of our city. It is unbelievable how much
Mhm.
reporting we have on food.
Yeah.
Not just that, and I know guests have said it before, but the community here is just no one is out to get anyone. There's obviously, that bit of competitiveness here
Yeah.
and there, but I mean, part of growing our brand was doing collaborations with people, right? I mean, probably one of our most popular collaborations today was the fucking taco that we did with Kui at Miley,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We still have the hot fried chicken taco, which
Mhm.
was a
Mhm.
a collaboration
That's a
with
good one.
Southern at the time
Yeah.
and Rick Lewis.
Yeah. Oh, that was dating back to that
Oh
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That fried chicken one's good.
Yep, yep. Just recently did a hot dog style taco
Steve.
with Steve's hot dogs.
Mhm.
So, those
And the skate
collaborations.
laborious one was awesome.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
that was just on the food side, and then
Yeah.
we've always just really been big on community, the arts. Again, that's kind of that West Coast vibe, the muralists.
Mhm.
So yeah, we did stuff with Skate Laborious, some fundraisers for them.
Mhm.
We've done a ton of different art projects around and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I love the art that you guys have. I saw a video recently of one of the muralists redoing the mural, and he's
oh
like, "This
yeah,
is the first time I've ever painted over," but he like made it different and like
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of cool. And then I was at the Del Mar one, and I noticed the Mission District of you guys have the mural in the back
yeah.
there of the Mission District
Yep.
in San Francisco. So, yeah, that's really cool to like get to travel and bring that to St. Louis because it felt like you grew up there, for most of your life, and then being able to bring something like that to St. Louis to a lot of people that have never even been to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Being in the Midwest, it's like they go to Florida.
Right.
They don't go to beaches in California. So that's really cool to be able to bring that. But the food scene has expanded so much. I mean, since you guys started, back with these other three concepts, and then even dating back to Mission in 2014, you guys were, one of the core people probably driving, creativity when it came to food. It seems like, I mean, we've had people on the show like Gerard and Ben and all these
Sure.
guys that have been doing stuff, but I mean, you guys have been in this industry, and I think the hospitality industry in St. Louis, everybody is supporting everybody, and that's what you noticed. And Kui, I was actually just talking to him. His Nudo is right over here across the street from the
Yep.
studio, and I go there almost every day after the studio,
Nice.
just because it's the best takeout. Get some ramen. But let's talk about your STL bucket list a little bit because you've been here. You've been in the scene for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have some people that you like to go support. So let's think of it as a personal date night. Is there some spots that's on your bucket list, on your date night bucket list?
Yeah. So I've listened to a lot of the podcasts. So I know. Obviously there's the favorites out there.
Yeah.
So I tried to think of a couple. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Fiala's restaurants.
Mhm.
It's just classic.
Mhm.
We live in Webster now, but before that we lived in Maplewood for a long time, and we had our daughter, and I'm pretty sure our daughter, 12 plus years ago was maybe, I don't know, 5 days old on the patio of a Chero.
Yeah, that's a good spot. Yeah.
God, back then it was like $30 for like a 4-course,
Tasting menu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was amazing. It was like the best deal in town.
And you could bring your daughter there
And you
too.
could bring your daughter and sit on the patio. Yeah, yeah. And then, the Crossing is just classic. It's just great food. It's well done, classically made food.
Mhm.
And then huge fan of sushi. So, obviously Indo, which is a favorite, of course, because
Yeah.
it's delicious.
Yeah.
So
No, it's great.
I mean, we went to Nippon Tay all the
Yeah,
time when
it's a
Nippon
good
Tay
spot.
was open.
A lot of
But
that same staff's now working at Indo,
at Indo,
and he's got that new spot in the pavilion in the back of Sato where it's like
Yeah.
this 18-course omakase.
yeah, we
Something
need to
crazy.
check that out. But
Something crazy.
but in truth, my kids are 12, 9, and 8, so date nights right now are very hard to come by.
Yes. Yeah, I'm already experiencing that with a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
So now the date nights are actually a little bit different. So you probably go to a lot of places that your kids love. So do your kids have a bucket list?
Yeah, for sure. Corner 17. My kids love Corner 17. Carl's Drive-In is a favorite. We live in Webster, so Parkmore, O&O Pizza we go to quite a bit.
Yeah, so anywhere you can bring all the kids. But even then, it's hard to bring 3, almost teenagers. Or like 3, 9, and 12-year-olds.
Well, they outnumber you.
Yeah.
Once you get to 3, you're outnumbered.
I'm about to have
It's
2,
like-
man.
Yeah.
I'm about to have 2 in 12 months. Like, my family can't believe it. They're like, wait, you're about to have another one? I'm like, yeah, they're me 12 months apart.
Yeah,
You got an 8 and 9-year-old.
And I'm almost 50, so I'm no spring chicken here with the little ones.
So what about like activities? I mean, is there any things that like traditions for your family where it's like, okay, it's summer, we love to do this? I mean, you guys are in the Webster kind of area, so like anything that like every year you guys are doing with your kids or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, I lived in Chesapeake for 2 years. I was 7th and 8th grade, no, 6th and 7th grade.
Yeah.
And of all my travels, all my moving, there's one guy, my buddy Kyle, that lived there, and he lives in the Outer Banks now. And Outer Banks was kind of the place where you went to vacation if you lived in the Southern Virginia. So we do an Outer Banks trip every year. It's
So
awesome.
they watch the TV show.
My daughters watch the TV show for sure.
Yeah. So the TV
other
show
ones
is
are
probably
a
not
little
as
bit better.
accurate as like
No, it's not.
Finding Gold, but it's cool for the area to like have the area highlighted. But it was almost like the Ozark show that they did with the Lake of the Ozarks, and but they made it look like this crazy like gang related drug thing.
Yeah,
And I was like,
exactly.
oh well, it's like really just a party area to like go with your family.
Yeah. What else we got? We're a few months away from morel season, so love getting out. To me, morel season is, I hate winter. I grew up by the beach, so cold and I do not get along.
Yeah. It's been bitter.
But yeah, when morel season literally starts, when the ground temperatures are like 50, all these things, it basically means it's spring.
Yes.
So I love morel season because I finally get to get out, get the kids out, and just go
Oh, you guys all
hiking
go
in the
out.
woods. Oh, we all go. Yeah.
Wow.
My son Mateo is definitely the one that wants to get out there the most. He's my outdoorsman. We fish, we mushroom hunt. So
That's awesome. And then you guys will get the morels, and it's great in Missouri, obviously.
Yeah.
Or around the area. But and then you'll go and eat them and prepare them and do all types of stuff with them.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Hopefully when we get a lot, we just give them to friends as well. and
Yeah.
stuff, so.
No, that's crazy. So you guys would say that you're adventure outdoors family kind of active things and
Absolutely. Camping, love to do float trips with the kids, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So looking ahead, I like to ask a lot of business owners, how they balance their mental health, because we talked about all the ups and downs that comes with being in the restaurant. You're also a dad too, and that's more important than anything you do at the restaurant. So is there anything that you do? Is it the outdoor stuff, or is there any self-care tips for business owners of things that you do that help, you stay on it for not only your kids, but also your employees too?
Yeah. It's trying, I think we all had things that we, when we were younger that we were passionate about, that you get into work, you get into families that you lose some of those things. And, I'm trying my best to keep those things going. Right.
Yeah.
So, while I've had 6 surgeries on my knee and have a fake knee now, I can't play soccer anymore, but my whole family grew up, we were huge, soccer players and stuff. I get that with my daughter and my son who play competitive soccer now.
Okay.
So, just even getting out just to watch them play brings me so much joy. I was just down in Phoenix 2 weekends ago with my daughter for a tournament.
Wow.
So I do that. It is a lot of outdoor. Anytime I can I just want to unplug. I want to get away.
Yeah.
Right. So one thing that I've been playing for a long time, but I play disc golf. So got a group of
That's
buddies.
for the old guys that can't play soccer
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
They can walk
Exactly.
around the
Yeah.
course.
So I do have another brother. I got a younger brother,
Nice.
Nathan, and he
Yeah.
has a small construction company he owns and
Nice.
has a pretty flexible schedule.
Yeah.
So
you're able to get
you know,
out there
yeah,
during
we,
the lunch
yeah, we got
hours
a
and
disc
stuff.
golf crew that
Yeah.
likes to get out and play disc golf.
It's fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
so-
some good. I grew up over by Quiver River, so they got some over there out in kind of like past Wentzville,
Mm-hmm.
Missouri area. So we used to play all the time, and now it's been huge. But yeah, it's hard as like a business owner owner, because especially with all these things, like you kind of just talked like through some new hires that you were doing before the episode, and like all these things, like you drop everything for your team, and you guys are rebuilding now, and it's like your brother too. So it's like there's probably days that you're like, where's my brother at? He's here doing this, I'm doing this, and like you guys work at the same place, but you just like are doing so much, and then family stuff comes in, and once your kids start doing that, it's like you want to drop anything to be there for those moments. You can't miss those moments. You know, you can't make those up. You can make more money someday, you know, or do something, but
the moments are precious and they go by, and all of a sudden they're, you know, a preteen driving you crazy.
No, that's good, man. Well, that's something to look forward to for us. I think that, you know, we're 29 now, and, you know, we had a good early 20s. We did a lot of fun stuff, and we built, you know, businesses, and we built, you know, there's nothing ever done. We're still building, but it's like I think that we live that now. It's like I haven't seen my friends in a long time, and we just had our first birthday, getting to see people, and then like now every moment, like she's probably texting me now pictures of like, oh, she did this or she did that, and we have a daughter, and then we're having another daughter, so you know, back to back. So girl dad vibes. And you said you have 2 daughters too?
No, my oldest, my 12-year-old, is a daughter, and then my middle boy, we adopted Mateo, then when we adopted Mateo, we immediately got pregnant with our son Willie, and so the 2 boys are not that far. They're
That's what you said.
14 months apart.
Wow. So walk us through. I want to talk a little bit about that too, because I know you're big, and you know, so adopting a child, I mean, obviously that you're in a special club in that club. So walk us through those moments, and you know, you guys wanted to have a bigger family and you decided to adopt, but then, you know, something happened where they gave you another child as well too at the same time. So
adoption came about. We actually struggled having birth the first time. Getting pregnant. Sorry, we struggled getting pregnant the first time. And you know, we did some tests. My wife had a test, and one of her fallopian tubes was blocked, and she was actually getting ready to go in to have surgery to have this removed. And a nurse stopped the surgery. Is like, hey, I mean, she's IV everything. You know, we've been there over an hour and getting ready to be wheeled off. And nurse is like, hey, we need to hold on a sec. This is showing a slight positive. We're like, what? And she's like, this pregnancy test. And we're like, shut up. We're here because we can't get pregnant, right? So anyway, it turns out she was 10 days pregnant with Callista, our daughter at the time.
And luckily she caught, you know, she found that
she
slight
saw
positive,
that. Right,
and it was only 10 days.
Yeah, they did blood work to confirm everything, and 45 minutes later, we found out she was 10 days pregnant. But leading up to that, we were told our possibilities of getting pregnant were slim to none, and even if she did, it could be a bad pregnancy, ectopic pregnancy, something like that. My wife, her family was a foster family growing up. We still hang out with little Karen, who lived with her for 2 years, and, you know, is her late 20s now, and still do family things with her. So that was always part of her family. And we just made the decision before we got pregnant with Callista that we were going to adopt. Then we had Callista, tried getting pregnant again, wasn't going well. And we're like, you know what? We have our miracle child. There's kids out there. We had made this decision before. Let's do it. Let's adopt. And we have some friends that adopted our architect, Tom Niemeyer with Space Architects, has 2 adopted boys. One of my good friends and one of our investors, David Garish and Bonnie Claire, have adopted sons. So we just went that route, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and then you got blessed with another miracle child. Then
and then we immediately got pregnant again. Yeah.
That's such a. I think that there's this like, and I don't know if it's true or not, but like the mindset, and I've heard the story a lot when people are adopting that they end up getting pregnant because they stop thinking about it again. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, you know better. I mean, you guys live through it.
I think it's just the human body, right? I mean, you know, I think my wife is just a lot of pressure. I was older. She's younger than I am. She's 7.5 years younger than I am, and you know, that clock's ticking, and you want this thing. You're thinking about it, and I think it just puts a lot of pressure on the body. And as soon as both times, as soon as that pressure relieved, I don't know, she got pregnant. So
wow, it's like, you know, struggling to have one, and you know, being able to have 3, and you guys are still involved with these organizations, and you guys just did a give back with
we've worked with
Rick
we've worked with Foster and Adoptive Care Coalition. I was actually on their board for a couple of years, just stepped down recently. But we've been doing give backs with them for, I don't know, 5-6 years now. Every November it's National Adoption Month. So
No,
Yeah.
that's special. Yeah, there's nothing like that. The building the family, and you have this huge restaurant family too. I mean, you told me how many employees. You guys have hundreds of
Yeah,
employees.
we have probably close to 500 employees right now.
Yeah, dude, that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
That's crazy. Well, Adam, I appreciate you for coming on the show. I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for the people that are listening is get out there and support the rebrand, post about it, talk about it. You know, I think that, you guys went through something that is, as a marketing person, a brand builder myself, would break my heart to have to redo something, or not redo, but reinvent something that you cared about so much.
For 10 years.
It was your other child. It was one of your other kids, and having to rebrand that. So tell people before we wrap up, what the the vision behind Session was, tying it to skating and surfing and these different things, and kind of that brand of Session. How'd you guys land? I'm sure you did a bunch of exercises to find something, but
yeah, we worked with a Jump Company as our branding agency, and they put forth a ton of names. Some were okay, some were not great, and I think it was second time we met with them. Session Taco popped up on the screen, and the word, it was like, the only thing I don't like is that it's actually close to the word mission.
Yeah, it is really close.
It kind of worked out on some things, but we've definitely heard, it's pretty close to the name. You just changed 2 letters. But to us, I mean, we grew up at the beach. It was skate sesh, surf sesh, jam sesh, smoke sesh, whatever sesh it might be, art sesh. So it just, I don't know. It just, both of us, Jason and I, immediately were like, yeah, that's it. And sometimes you just got to go with your gut.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're trying some new things. We still have ton of old favorites, all the classics, right? We're gonna try some new things. We're gonna piss some people off. That's okay. We got to figure it out.
Yeah.
We like feedback. Feedback helps us grow and be better. So
yeah, no, I love it. You guys brought the BLT back.
Yeah,
I tried that.
Yeah,
but you listen to people.
We listen to people, man.
Yeah, and then they have it. But so you're in Town and Country, Kirkwood, Central West End's reopening soon. Obviously, the St. Charles one on the streets of St. Charles, and then your OG one in Delmar, and then the Central West, or no, Soulard.
Kirkwood, Soulard,
and then Kansas City.
Yep, we got 2 in Kansas City. Yep.
Yeah, so Kansas City, guys, go out, support. I know we have a lot of people listening from all over Missouri. So, Adam, I appreciate you for coming on, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Cool, man. Yep.
Today they rep St. Louis, yeah. They rep St. Louis. They rep St. Louis.